up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days. We have some big topics to discuss. Again, we're being linked with a lot of midfielders over the past few days. None of them really fitting the profile of a pivot that Barcelona do want, but nonetheless, the links are there. We'll discuss it, see who's available and see who isn't. But of course, a signing this month will depend on the sale of Barca Studio, as Joan Laporta is working very hard to get the sale over the line to receive the 40 million euros needed to comply with FFP, create some margin for us to sign a player this summer. We are targeting players for the summer as well. Firstly, Lucas Bergvall, the Swedish midfielder. We're making a big offer for him. I'll give you guys the details on that, and also more advancements on Messinho, the of course Brazilian winger, the next best thing coming out of Brazil. But of course, with players coming in, there will be some sales this summer. We have some updates on the sale of Araujo, with both Bayern Munich and Manchester United showing big interest in the player, and how Bayern Munich are really revving up the pressure to try and sign their #1 target this summer. We have some updates about Christensen potentially playing in the pivot for the remainder of the season. Big injury update on Ansu Fati, and how Barcelona have renewed their car or automobile deal with CUPRA as well. We'll give you guys the exact figures of how much Barcelona made during that renewal. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with one of the more shocking news around Barcelona over the past few days, which is the news around the coaching staff being unhappy with Lewandowski's entire form during the season. Now, The Athletic have come out saying that Barcelona's backroom sources, who prefer to speak anonymously to protect their position, have conceded their frustration with Lewandowski's lack of luck in front of goal this season. Now, over the past few games, Lewandowski has played well. He's gotten 2 goals in 2 games in the Super Cup in Saudi Arabia. But before that, he's been lackluster this season, to say the least. I think he has, I don't even think he's broken double digits in goals quite yet. Maybe he just has broken it. I'm not quite too sure. But again, the main thing about Lewandowski this season has been that he's missed a lot of chances, and hopefully that will improve over time now, as he's now just getting into some decent form, his best form so far this season. But the most important thing about Lewandowski is that he is going to be a big name player that Barcelona have signed throughout the course of the year. And what better way than, of course, to have a signed autograph of Lewandowski, because this video is sponsored by Signables. Now, that has led me to something that I want to share with you, and that is my digitally autographed signed Robert Lewandowski signable. Signables is a brand that is absolutely revolutionizing the autograph game by delivering an authentic, ready for display sports collectible. Not only do they have the Barcelona collection featuring the likes of Lewandowski, Pedri, even legends like Gerard Piqué, on loan players as well like Ansu Fati, but they also have other teams as well, such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, and even the American women's team. For me personally, Signable makes the perfect addition to my sports collection. I'll be getting much more of these. It's so simple, it's so perfect as well. Getting a real Lewandowski signature is not only going to cost you so much money, but it's also hard to get, where Signable is easily obtainable and also super affordable. And you also have some information on the back as well: birthday, country, the Messinho club, his number as well. It is so well designed. It's absolutely perfect to put anywhere in your collection, on your desk, in your shelf. It is so well organized at such an affordable price as well. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and get your first digitally autographed signable today. Let's now discuss some of the transfer news around Barcelona over the past few days. Firstly, of course, the main talking point for Barcelona is the reinforcement of the pivot position, as Barcelona still continue to scour the market for a pivot, both now in January potentially, and also of course long term in the summer. Now, Relevo have come out saying that Martin Zubiemdni is still Xavi's first choice for the pivot position, but again, Barcelona not really too keen on giving another club in La Liga a lot of money due to what's happened with the Negreira case. Listen, I've seen so many clips of Zubiemdni lately, and there is no clear-cut more signing for Barcelona than Zubiemdni. It's been a long time since you could say this player 100% has to be signed by Barcelona. I think the last player I would say that was like that was Lewandowski, when the rumors came out, for that, when it became possible, you're like, yeah, that's just a Barcelona signing. Even Koundé, he was probably the best center back available on the market that was, that fit the style of play for Barcelona. Zubiemdni fits that mold beyond belief. And I've yet to see any other name apart from Zubiemdni that fits the mold that he does. It's unbelievable. But again, I think there's nothing really in it at the moment, just Xavi's interest. Barcelona, still there, but with the Negreira case, I think it will be difficult to achieve. Now, apart from Zubiemdni, we have been linked with quite a few midfielders, and quite a few of them have been ruled out as well. First one up is Bruno Guimarães. Now, Goal Brazil have come out saying that Barcelona are competing for Bruno Guimarães' signing with PSG, but the deal is only expected to take place in the summer. But following that report, Joaquim Pereira, who of course is the #1 source in regards to Brazilian players around Barcelona, he came out saying that Bruno Guimarães will not wait for Barcelona. PSG are pushing for him, and his price is 100 million euros, and that makes it impossible for Barcelona to enter the race for him. Now, it doesn't rule out Barcelona, and again, I think the Barcelona interest is there, but for the price and the competition and when the deal is taking place, Barcelona had, hands have been forced. And I would say thankfully so as well. I don't think Bruno Guimarães is the pivot that we need, unless we're going to all of a sudden switch to a double pivot, which we have seen a little bit of this season with Gundogan and Frankie de Jong. But if we're still honing down the fact we want a single pivot, Bruno is definitely not the option. Now, we have been linked, surprisingly in my opinion, with two English midfielders, one of them being Jordan Henderson. Now, Tony Juan Marti came out saying that Jordan Henderson offered himself to Barcelona a few weeks ago. He knew the club was looking to strengthen the midfield, so his agents contacted Barcelona, but the club rejected the offer. I believe yesterday he just signed with Ajax on a free transfer. His contract with El Ettifaq has been terminated after he signed last summer for like 600,000 a week or something like that. So Jordan Henderson on a free, I think maybe might have intrigued to Barcelona. I think a few weeks ago that wasn't really a possibility, but hey, we rejected it. It is what it is, and thank God we did as well. But finally, another midfielder, another Englishman as well, who has been, I wouldn't say heavily linked, but it's definitely a new name that has sparked some debate online, and that is Calvin Phillips, the pivot, of course, for Manchester City, with Matt Law in the Telegraph, who's a top source in England, saying the future of Calvin Phillips is set to be decided at some point next week, and Barcelona are among the clubs interested. There's been a lot of reports suggesting that, Deco is a big fan of the player and he can come in for a few months and do a job. If you look at the past few transfer videos I've done, and I'm talking about the midfield, the one constant theme is that Barcelona don't want to sign for the sake of signing. They don't want to sign a short-term player. This right here is short-term written all over it. Calvin Phillips for me is yet again a Bruno Guimarães profile, in the sense that he's not a single pivot, he is a double pivot. He needs someone beside him to, share the role with, essentially. Now, if you told me Calvin Phillips or no one in January, yes, I would take Calvin Phillips because we're desperate for numbers in the midfield, but this is 1,000,000,000% a short-term signing. And if the club want to go against what they've been leaking all over the media recently, then by all means, I think the reports are that Man City want a 7 million euro loan fee plus his full salary covered, so ain't no way we're paying that. Ain't no way it's worth it either as well. I think the only way this deal is possible is that if it's a straight loan, majority of his salary is covered by Barcelona, maybe the deal can happen, but I think there are other favors currently for Calvin Phillips, but Barcelona's name has been thrown in the hat, so we'll wait and see what happens. But in regards to the pivot position, again, Xavi still wants Zubiemdni. The club have been linked with other profiles that don't really fit the mold, but yet no concrete option for Barcelona quite yet. But there is a concrete option for Barcelona in the midfield, just not in the pivot, and that is an attacking midfielder in Lucas Bergvall. Now, Mateo Merito has come out saying that Barcelona are going to present an offer that comes close to 10 million euros, including variables, so 10 million euro package for Lucas Bergvall in the coming days. Now, this is a big investment for a young player. Of course, we did buy Noah Darvik in the summer for around 4 or 5 million. Mikal Fea, I believe, was around the same price as well. So we're really investing in these young talents. And also Plätti from Sky Germany also confirmed this as well, saying that Eintracht Frankfurt are ready to pay around 9 million euros for Lucas Bergvall and want to integrate him into the first team immediately. Barcelona is one of the favorites to sign him, but the player has not made a decision yet. Bayern Munich too are also interested in him. So you can either go to Barcelona, play for Barca Athletic for a little bit, then maybe go out on loan or break into the first team if he does exceptionally well, or go to Eintracht Frankfurt, be in the first team and play in the Bundesliga week in, week out. It will come down to a personal decision, but the fact that Barcelona are pushing for him and the fact that Barcelona are not offering, but essentially matching Eintracht Frankfurt's offer for him, for me, is a big sign of how highly Barcelona do rate Lucas Bergvall. So we'll wait and see what happens over the coming days, and if we do present that offer, how it's going to be presented as well. Will it be a 7+3, 6+4, 5+5? Will the fixed fee be paid in installments? Will the variables added on be difficult or easy to achieve? We'll wait for those details to come later on. But again, Barcelona are preparing a new offer for the Swedish midfielder Lucas Bergvall in the region of a total package of 10 million euros. Now, another young talent who Barcelona are very keen on and will make some movements hopefully in the coming weeks, and that is for Estevão Willian, also known as Messinho. Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that Barcelona are determined to take a step for Messinho, who has already made his debut with Palmeiras. Despite the fact that he has several great teams in Europe pushing for him, Messinho and his agent will row in favor of Barcelona. So again, a lot of interest. Palmeiras do want to sell him or have his release clause be activated in the next few months. I think they want to get a deal over the line for him before the summer transfer window. If I'm not mistaken, those were the reports about a few weeks ago. But now we have some more big news. I believe I told you guys a few weeks ago that Ronald Araujo from Mundo Deportivo said that Barcelona have given the green light to go and pursue the signing of Messinho, and now Gabriel Sanz from Mundo Deportivo also confirmed this as well, saying the board has given the green light and have sent scouts to report on Estevão Willian. The Brazilian dreams of wearing the Blaugrana despite interest from other top European clubs. So again, the Barcelona poll could be in full effect here as we do try to pursue the signing. Again, he does have a 60 million euro release clause that of course can be divided, maybe 40 million fixed and paid in installments, of course, 20 in variables, a 30-30 split, maybe even a 50-10 split, whatever the case may be. Of course, negotiations with Palmeiras will not be straightforward, but I think with the entourage of Estevão Willian, it will be fairly straightforward, agreeing a contract, what the plan's going to be for him, his salary, his wages, things of that nature, agent fees for Andre Curry as well for making some big movements in that regard. So wait and see what happens with Estevão Willian. For me, he's an absolutely top talent that we can't really afford to pass up on, especially with us lacking in the winger department. I understand that him and Lamine Yamal are both right wingers, but like I've said, one of them can shift to the left at this point because we gotta have both talents in there. I think Lamine Yamal can definitely make that move over there. I've never seen Messinho play on the left. It's always been on the right, whether it's for the Brazilian national team or for Palmeiras, but you never know, maybe he has a killer left foot as well and he can do a job on that side. So we'll wait and see how things develop in the next few weeks. But again, officially now we could say that Barcelona have given the green light to pursue the signing of Estevão Willian. Now, as you all probably are aware of, we have passed the halfway point in the January transfer window, and yet no real concrete development on Barcelona signing a midfielder. And I'm telling you right now for free, this will be the last 48 hours signing if we do, of course, have the capabilities and get it over the line. Now, in regards to who we want to sign in January, Sport have come out saying that Xavi believes that the team should sign a player similar to Gavi's profile, while Deco is interested in signing a defensive pivot to cover for the space left by Sergio Busquets. Currently, there's only one pivot in the squad, and that's Oriol Romeu, and he's not in Xavi's plans. Now, if Deco wants a pivot and Xavi wants, a Gavi profile, those two completely valid in my opinion. And I think honestly the team needs both. Whether you get one in January and the other doesn't really matter to me. Again, the most important thing is getting a body in there, someone again with a medium to long-term future, of course. Now, Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that in order for Barcelona to sign in January, the club needs to receive the pending 40 million euro sale of Barca Studios. In the summer, Barcelona would have received the payment of 60 million, which will help with FFP as well. The last payment of 60 is expected to arrive in 2025 in June, which influences Barcelona's ability to sign. So yeah, again, we're still waiting for the payments for Barca Studio, and whether or not we sold them to Libero Football Finance or not remains to be seen. Now, Sport came out saying that Barcelona is close to selling the club's studios to another company after Liberal's failure to pay. The club has all the necessary documents and the sale process to close. There's contact with La Liga to send documents as soon as possible to obtain the green light to bring in a midfielder. Where Roger Dinero and Fernando Polo from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona still does not rule out the option of selling the agreed part of Barca Studios to Liberal before the end of this month. The club is working with two investment funds and is confident of being able to close the operation before the end of January. In fact, Barcelona is optimistic about being able to earn more than the 40 million euro agreed upon with Liberal. The funds will be used to resolve the financial situation, as in registration and as some contract renewals rather than the new signings, but it's not completely ruled out. If a market opportunity arises, the club will evaluate. So they're saying that they're going to get this money in, and it's probably going to be used for contract renewals and registration and things of that nature, not more so for a new signing, but something presents itself, you never know. Again, strap your seatbelts. This is going to be, if Barcelona do sign a midfielder this January, it will be in the last 48 hours of the transfer window. I can 100% guarantee it to you at this point. I've seen the script. We've seen it time and time again. We're not signing anyone before January 29th, and I will bet any amount of money with you. Will we sign someone before February 1st, though? That for me is the big question. I think, again, if we do not sign a midfielder, do not have expectations this season. I'm not saying that, oh, our season lies in the fact that if we sign a midfielder or not. Look at that midfield, man. It is just going to get overrun beyond belief. The midfield starting three is Frankie de Jong, Gundogan, Pedri. Off the bench, you have Romeu, who, of course, is shite. And you have Fermin Lopez, who's very young and, you know, sometimes plays, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe, you know what. So it's a big risk from the club. I understand they don't want to, you know, sign someone for the sake of signing someone. I understand that, but they've got to try their best to bring someone in. If Alex Garcia does have a 14 million release clause, I mean, bloody hell, I'll give you 4 million. Get the rest of the 10 by yourself. Like, I'll help you out if needs be. Just send me an email or something. Like, if we want to push for this league title, push for the Copa del Rey, and may God help us push for the Champions League, you need something in that midfield. Just with this midfield alone, we are one injury from pure and utter chaos. Like, the midfield starting three, one injury, and we're absolutely toasted. So wait and see what happens in the January transfer window. Again, we're more than halfway through it, but again, we are looking, I believe, in the road of if we do sign someone, in the final 4 to 8 hours of the window. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days. First up, of course, is the third captain of the squad, Ronald Araujo, as yet again, the Bayern Munich rumors start to ramp up, and it is your boy, Plettigol from Sky Germany, who will not shut up about Araujo. He's come out saying that Barcelona are demanding 80 million euros from interested clubs for Araujo. Manchester United and Bayern Munich are keen on the defender. Thomas Tuchel adores him and has made him their main target for the summer transfer window. Fran Martinez, following this report, came out saying that Araujo continues to reject Manchester United despite their interest over recent weeks. But again, Plettigol is really honing down on the fact that Bayern Munich see Araujo as a dream top signing that is viable for them. He's come out saying that Manchester United had been informed of Araujo's transfer fee and contract details. They received the same information as Bayern Munich. The transfer package for the winter would be around 80 million euros. Plus, Araujo, of course, wants to stay at Barcelona, so it's difficult to get him in January. But Araujo remains a target for United for the summer. He remains a top target for Bayern Munich, as Tuchel loves the player. Look, I gotta find some sort of website where I can bet on future transfers, because I would put at least $50 on Araujo going to Bayern Munich, because the performances are dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping since these rumors have started. He has not looked the same whatsoever. And again, I told you guys 2 months ago, as soon as he picked up the phone to Tuchel, the doubts are already there. Again, let's say, for example, what's a good example? Let's say you're Carlos Puyol back in the early 2000s. You know, you grew up in Barcelona, you came to the academy, you're the captain of the team, you love the club, and you're playing, and your Mourinho from Chelsea calls you. Are you really going to pick up the phone? The answer is no, because the love is there. Araujo shows love, kisses the badge, says he loves Barcelona in every single interview. But again, I'm not saying because he's not from the city or the club that he doesn't have that love, because of course I'm not from there, but I have that love. But you can tell that it's not all there. I think with Pedri is there because he grew up as a Barcelona fan. His father was ran what's it called, a fan club or a socio, I forget what it's called. Gavi, of course, from the club as well. Baldi's from the club. There are players that show it, but with Araujo, he shows it, but he doesn't really back it up. I just see some doubts in him. And again, Araujo for me is a player that I would never sell. But if he came out to me saying that I want to leave and the offer from Bayern Munich is decent, I might take it. But what I am worried about is that they're claiming that his transfer price in January is 80. So what's going to be in the summer? Like 60, 70? It's going to go down in the summer because, of course, his contract is getting shorter and shorter. So for me in the summer, it has to be 100 million euros. I even chuck in De Ligt as well. They don't want De Ligt anymore. Chuck him in as well for a replacement. That would be my dream transfer if we were, of course, to sell Araujo. Again, I don't want to sell Araujo, but we will wait and see how things turn out. I think the end of the season for Barcelona will be important, how his contract situation will develop in the next few months, and also how much and how heavy Bayern Munich do press for him. Now, a defender that we can all agree upon that we don't mind if he leaves the club on a permanent basis is Sergino Dest, who has commented on his future in the media. Recently, he was asked in an interview about returning to Barcelona. Again, he's technically on loan from Barcelona, and he said that Xavi is still there. So at the moment, no, it will be too difficult for me. So he's basically saying that unless a new manager comes in, I have no chance of being the right back for Barcelona. He also said, I think that Barcelona, PSV, and I have something to say about this, and that can be discussed at the end of the season. Right now, it is a bit too early. Of course, he's referring to the buy option that PSV do have for him. I think the buy option is around 10 million euros. We bought him for 10 million euro loss over the course of a few years. I think we just cut our losses. For me, Dest, I think the most important thing about him is that he's very versatile, of course, and that he's kind of like Cancelo in the sense he can play both left back and right back at the same level, but again, that level isn't too great. Yes, he's fast, but I think on the ball, his decision making isn't the best. I still remember his Clasico debut when we lost, I think 3-1 at home. Koeman, he was unbelievable that game. I think that was probably his only good game for Barcelona. And Sociedad 6-1 away in the black kit. Played a good game there. Apart from that, that's it. So I think with Dest, it's best to just strip the sail. We have Ronald Araujo, of course. You have João Cancelo as well. You have Hector Ford. So I think there's no room for Dest whatsoever. I think he realizes that as well. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. Firstly, we're going to talk about, for the second time this season, rumors that Barcelona, or i.e. Xavi, may use Christensen as a pivot during the season. Again, we got these rumors, I believe, the first time around September after the first international break, and they have resurfaced again. And Fran Martinez, one of the Deportivo, is reporting that both Xavi and Deco agree that Andreas Christensen is an option to play as a pivot, especially in important matches, as he can provide a defensive shield, he can recover balls, impose physicality, and also has a very good passing range. He's considered as an intelligent player, and he also played in that position in the past. It is planned, especially after Inigo Martinez returns from injury, to try Christensen in the midfield in high demanding matches. I mean, been there, done that. We've heard this before already. We heard this again in September. We've not seen a sniff of Christensen in the pivot whatsoever. But once Inigo comes back, you have a back four of Koundé, Araujo, Inigo, Balde, and then, or maybe even Cancelo at left back to put pressure on Balde. And then potentially you can have Christensen in the pivot. Like I mentioned earlier, the midfield three right now is Gundogan, De Jong, Pedri. One of them gets injured, you're basically screwed. So now you can use Christensen as that mold. Again, Christensen will be happy because he has to play week in, week out. He hates dropping in and out of the team so consistently. In big games, sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. So I think everyone will be happy in that sense. But I really want to see it as soon as possible. I think this weekend against Betis may be a bit too risky, but the following matches against Alaves and Granada at home as well, I think would be a good, option to try. I wouldn't really want to just chuck it into a big game as the first time, but I think it definitely can be a big option, especially if we do not sign a pivot in January as well. But let's hope we get to see it. Hopefully Xavi will get more questions about this in the press conference, and maybe we'll persuade him to try him. Now, quickly on Christensen, of course, they go off yesterday in the Copa del Rey match against Unionistas with an injury at halftime with some minor discomfort. According to reports, everything's fine. Having Miguel from AS came out saying there's no concern with Christensen, just an overload in the muscle. He'll be available against Betis this weekend, so nothing serious there, thank God. And of course, Gobrassi came in, put in a shift as well. So we'll wait and see what happens in regards to Christensen playing in the pivot this summer. I think playing in the pivot at some point this season. It's definitely been an idea around Xavi and Deco for a long time, but let's hope they actually go out there and try and execute it. Now, we do have another injury update as well aside from Christensen, and that is on a current low player in Ansu Fati, who has returned to Brighton first team full training yesterday, which of course is fantastic news. He was supposed to be out until around the beginning of February, so he's come back about 2 weeks early, which I think is a good thing if he's especially being fully fit. But again, with his injury history, let's hope it's nothing too serious. He's coming back at a very early pace, but he has practically recovered from his injury. He trained for the first time with Brighton. Maybe in the next week or so we can hopefully see him play in the Premier League again. I have heavy stocks invested in Ansu Fati, and hopefully he comes back this season, makes a good push in the last few months of the season as well with Brighton, and come back to Barcelona and have his name in contention to stay permanently or bring up his market value for us to benefit from his sale this summer. And the final topic that I wanted to discuss before I end off this video is in regards to Barcelona renewing their contract, their automobile car contract with CUPRA, Fernando Polo from Deportivo, came out saying that Barcelona have renewed their sponsorship contract with CUPRA for an additional 4 years until 2028. The right sleeve of the jersey is usually for the La Liga or Champions League logo and empty during preseason, but with the renewal, CUPRA now will occupy that right sleeve during preseason matches and tours. CUPRA's brand image will also appear on the sleeve of the handball, hockey, and futsal team. With the increased brand exposure, the company will now pay around 7 million euros to Barcelona. Previously, the figure couldn't even reach around 6. We increased the money to put them on the sleeve, especially in games where we don't have, La Liga badge, Champions League, Copa del Rey badge, things of that nature. Renew the deal for 4 more years. Also, their cars are pretty decent as well. So everyone is happy. I think, again, another thing that Barcelona got out of the way, they can focus on other priorities now, selling Barca Studios, getting the registration in, because all these renewals for brand deals are always important. Again, we got to focus now on the Nike situation as well. So very good renewal for Barcelona and something that's beneficial for all parties as well. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. But the main thing, firstly, of course, is your thoughts on the midfield reinforcement. More specifically, in January, do you believe we will sign someone in January in the midfield or not? Second, your thoughts on Barcelona giving the green light for Messinho. Think we'll actually pursue his signing in the next few weeks and make some advancements that need to be made in order to pursue his signing. Third, your thoughts on Araujo. Do you think he will leave Barcelona this summer? And finally, your thoughts on the sale of Barca Studio. Do you think Barcelona will be able to complete that in order to make the signing in January? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.